was 10 below. The pickup had barely a heater in it. The other individual had a broken arm, but had the same kind of experience. The hospital here did not take them in, did not put a splint on them, did not do anything. They had to go to Helena. And it was 10 below. So I understand a lot of people, and I don't mind to say the hospital is excellent. I don't have a lot of complaints, but I don't think we should be investing in it. Leave it alone, let it manage itself. And it's for the three commissioners to look at why you were elected, who elected you, and they're asking that they get to vote on this, not the three of you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask another semantic question. One of the things that kind of was noteworthy to me in looking at our facility and comparing to some of these other counties that seem to have very similar or a little bit less similar characteristics. For instance, we have anywhere debatable between 11% to 20% people that are near or in poverty, may not have insurance at all. So that's a chunk. But regardless of that, these other places are not putting money after an old dated building and trying to maybe bring in new equipment and soup up some rooms when some major physical plant issues exist with an aging facility, like they always do. And why not have the vision? Again, you know, Bear comes to mind. How cool was it that they actually offered stock for the donors in their county? Granted, it wasn't publicly traded, but it was something they could invest in, you know? So there's thoughts like that, and then why not be a Ruby Valley and just set our sights on putting that million or whatever the amount is toward a new facility that really is a shining star of our community and just really services all the needs here and can be so much more current and safe like we talked about, because, you know, Marcia's right. I mean, these infections and pathogens are stronger and stronger all the time. It isn't just our place. It's a big deal everywhere to fight that stuff. And if we don't have a real current facility and a strong physical plant, is this foolish or is it smart to put the money out there? I don't know. You know, I'm not sure I know the answers, but it's something that came to my mind, Chris, in terms of, sure, you know, they might pay back the money, but then what if some major failure occurs in the building at large? Or what if, you know, Mr. Davis is right, what if we have some other disasters that occur around here? Because weather's getting crazier all the time and we can't control that. So anyway, those are just some questions in my mind.
To answer your question, from an investment point of view, we're not putting all $6 million or $10 million into this program. Well, $1 million. And there's, you know, I mean, and it's something that it's a 5-year thing. We put $1 million in the CD for 10 years. Like 10-year bonds for you can't get out. 10-year bonds, and the money goes in as an investment, and it's locked in. Okay, so I don't see, this is a 5-year program, and it's not 5 years of balloon payment. It's 20% a year for 5 years. So they're going to pay $150 back plus the interest every year. So the amount of money that we're investing is going to be coming back, and that way we can take advantage. If interest rates change, we can take advantage of that new interest rates somewhere else and put it somewhere else.
If this is such a good investment, why isn't
This
the board members?
this question's for me?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Why isn't the board members and you or whoever's all thinking this is such a good investment, going ahead and borrowing the money and giving it to them and taking the 3%?
Are you asking me why I'm not borrowing money at 7% and investing it with them at 3%?
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
what you're
that's
asking
kind of a
me?
dumb idea, ain't it?
Yes. That's why I was
What
wondering
do you
why you
think
were
we're
offering
thinking
that as a
about?
possibility. I don't understand why. If the county, I'm looking at it from the county's point of view, we're getting 1.6% interest of, what?
You ain't looking at it from the county's view because there's too many
To me,
things
this
that can
is-
go wrong.
This is a math
that can
problem.
screw it up.
It's a math.
But this is a human problem.
Okay. Well, it's an increase on the rate of return that we're receiving. The payback period is relatively short. The funds are going to be coming from the source that we deem to be reliable. That's the federal government. You may question that. And it makes the hospital more sound, as I understand it, from what I understand, the way they're getting their money now, I'd rather invest in a place that was getting money reimbursed 100% from the federal government, rather than the nursing home model, the hospital model that they have right now. Okay?
But what about
And that down the road, if they become more stable financially, and then they can do the things that you're talking about, Kate,
Well,
then.
can we
then
just hear the status, maybe, for instance, of the physical plan?
Yeah,
How
I
are
thought we were
things
here to
with
talk about
repairs and
investment,
stuff?
but if you
That would be
wanna talk
awesome.
So the,
Yeah,
the investment dollars are gonna be used for operations, not for capital. And the board has, with community members, sat down and taken a hard look at what kind of facility we're gonna be interested in 5, 10, 15 years from now. And, you know, it's a process. You talk about Ruby Valley and Madison Valley, they were in pretty tough shape 10 years ago. And they had medical staff that was highly energetic. People in that community started using the facility, and it makes a huge difference in the financial bottom line, to where they're looking at expansion at the hospital in Ennis. They're looking at a new facility in Sheridan. And we want to be along that same line in the next 3 to 5 years too. But we've got to get over this particular hump that we're into right now.
Yes, so Clayton's kind of brought up an idea as far as the building. And how old is this building? When was the last time it was actually inspected? And could it be a factor on getting acceptance of the federal government for your program?
No. Our facility has gotten a 5-star rating. The inspections that we've had have been impeccable. But we do have mechanical and engineering items that are 30 years old that we're working hard to continue to maintain. Hats off to the staff, and hats off to the people who have worked hard to maintain that equipment, and roofs and all those things. But eventually, we're going to be looking at a replacement, but we need the operational part of the facility working right. And we think we're there.
Jenny, what are some of the current building projects? Can you remind me? Because I know Bill helped with some of the air handling and some roofing, and can you just kind of get us up to speed on what that is?
Yeah, every year there's maintenance, and we go through a
Right.
fire life and safety every year. The good thing is the building is, again, owned by the hospital district. They have an ongoing slush fund that's there, and they hold away from the hospital, frankly, for any big events that happen, so that they can come and take care of those items if they do. It's gonna happen, but we need to prove that we can make a $20,000, $30,000 net income every month before we can go build a $20 million building. But we want it. Let's make it happen.
The community has to use this before we can increase our,
We're starting to see that.
They are using
and we
it.
are.
I was doing some research on the internet, and it indicates to me through the United States Department of Health that Mr. Hopstead, you're part owner of that nursing home.
You know what? Go back and look at that. I looked at your same deal. What it says specifically, to go back and look at it. I'm a manager employee.
Yes.
I'm a manager employee. I own no part of the hospital. So
But
go back and look at it.
I've talked
got a
to the
copy of it
people in
right here.
Helena, and they said that you've not bothered to correct that.
There's nothing to correct. It's manager employee.
Mrs. Campbell, I would love for you to come over and show me exactly what you're talking about so I can contact them and correct them. So please, please come to my office after this meeting if you'd like, and show me and we'll correct that. Or who you're speaking with, so we can get that corrected right away.
What happens when Medicare goes down?
I won't get to the hospital. I hope that will go down. I'm on Medicare.
I know.
I've been on
What
Medicare
happens
for
when it
many
goes
years.
out?
We all
Wow.
die.
When Medicare goes down, we all have a problem.
You want to answer?
Well, you're right.
What happens if Medicare goes down?
The county's got a bigger problem. Right now, we got 10 million in there. We wouldn't have a dang bit of good situation. And then another thing is,
before any money is loaned, I would like to see a audit. Not a audit from this county. I want an outside auditor come in there and audit the hospital books. Everything that is,
We'd love to take a donation towards that. If you've
no,
got
you don't
one.
need a donation, you've got money for it.
No. It's about
If you want a
600.
loan, I think you should have it.
I'd like to speak as a taxpayer, and I'm not a rancher, and I'm sorry I'm gonna stand in front of you, Corey, but, I'm on the hospital board, but I wanna speak as a taxpayer in this county. 5 years ago, when this hospital was nearly closed, I went down to find out why, to invest time to understand how it operates. And I've since been on the board and I've invested several thousand hours to understand this. It's not an easy thing. But when I went down there 5 years ago, I frankly wanted this county to have a hospital. Lives are being saved in an emergency room. And I live where, in the golden hour, I wouldn't be safe going to Helena, nor would most of the people who live in this city. This city needs a hospital that offers wellness care, or better known as primary care. And we have a lot of constituents in this county that don't have the ability to go to Helena or go to Bozeman. They don't have a car, they don't have the money. I mean, these are the reasons why we need a hospital, and I wanted to get involved. The rehabilitation and nursing home services that we have here allow loved ones to be taken care of here. If you have your hip replaced in Billings, you can come back here and your family can see you. They don't have to travel to Billings. And then, and I knew this, but I heard at John Tester, when he was looking into rural health care, he says, if your hospital closes, you might as well roll up Main Street. These are reasons that I've invested all this time to make sure we have a hospital here.
Who said they wanted it closed?
So just a few facts, excuse me, just a few facts. Last year, our clinic had over 3,400 visits in it. That's in the last year. And that has been going up 25% a year. So if you talk about our growth and patients, they're coming, they're not leaving. There were 928 visits to our emergency room last year. That's about 3 a day. A lot of those people's lives were saved by having that emergency room here. There was over 15,000 lab tests done. What if you had to spend that money to drive somewhere else? How much gas money was saved? There was 1,500 images taken here. I know we took a lot of heat about adding a CT, which was added with grant money, not taxpayer money. That CT, what it does is many of those patients now don't have to go to Helena to prove what's wrong. It's proven here and they can be sent home or put in the hospital here instead of being sent to Helena at 2 in the morning, shoeless, with no way to get home. Also, this hospital has over 105 full and part-time employees that work in that hospital. That's a payroll of over $3.8 million annually in this county. Those are good jobs, and those are jobs with benefits. And, you know, I hear people in the county say, we would love for our kids to stay here in the county. We want them to stay close to home. Well, these are the kind of jobs you want your kids to have that are created here. And the level of care that's provided, and Kyle talked about it, I mean, we have a nationally recognized 5-star nursing home. Our hospital's recognized for the care we give. I get there's been mistakes, I don't know about splints and things, but I can tell you that generally, this hospital is not only needed, but is providing excellent care in this community. Now again, not as a board member, but somebody who lives here. So why do we have so many critics that attack us all the time? So on the financials, let's talk about that. Every month we talk about our financials at our board meeting. Our board meetings are posted. If you come in and want to see our financials, if you're not going to use them to manipulate them to write a letter in the paper, come on in. Jenny will spend lots of time with you, or we'll come out as board members and answer the difficult questions you have. It's okay. We know there's hard questions. We know it's complicated. and we'll spend time with you. So the question I have is, why do we have critics that are always after us and pulling up things that aren't true and putting them in the paper? It's so frustrating. Come and invest some time to learn about the hospital, to learn about what's really going on. You know, I appreciate Kate's questions, they're good ones.
We didn't answer about the turnover issue. I'm sorry, Bill. No, I checked, it's not at that percentage,
So
I'm sorry.
our average right now,
Not at
we
that
went through a
percentage.
tough time,
Yeah,
but our average turnover rate is between 12 and 16% right now. Still in a building process, which is average across the country. I guess sort of, if we're getting close to closing, you know what? We have a roast on Sunday after the parade, and we need some help hauling some picnic tables, serving people through the line. I'd welcome anybody to come and help, because we raise, between the auxilians, between the Rotary, we raise probably about 5,000. It's a real contribution. So if any of you had some time, other than talking to the state about whatever you're talking about, come and help us.
The provider question, I can't publicly talk about it, but I can say that as a board member, the last provider left because she had other reasons, but the 3 providers before that resigned their privileges at the hospital. We heard, I think, Bill Davis stand up and say something else about it. I'd be interested if those providers want to look into that. But the last 3 providers, basically, 2 of them resigned their privileges and one said, take me off the schedule, I'm leaving. So, but it's personnel issues. Sometimes the board has to deal with one arm tied behind their back. We're not gonna talk about it. I'm sorry. Anyway, I really think this community needs this hospital, and I'd hope you come and invest and understand. Spend the time to come down and learn. I mean, the financials are complex, difficult. They tried to explain the cost report tonight. That is, it's taken me 3 years and I still don't fully comprehend why the federal government would pay you more for having less people in the hospital. But that is the gist of what that's all about. The nursing home. I would love for us to have 32. We know the county wants that nursing home. We know it's a place for those who have come to the end of the line and don't have the money. At the same time, we can't fill it, and as a board, we're having to make the tough decision to make some changes. So just be aware that this is a hospital that this community really needs.
Just for your information, there are, based on my count, 58 nursing home or assisted living beds in this county. It comes to all the 3 places. There are 58 beds. And today, there are only 41 people. So everybody that has an assisted living or a nursing home right now is operating at less than capacity, because there's only 41 people.
Coming to a close here, I got an email sent to me, and the person wanted it read off at this, he wasn't gonna hear this public hearing. I'll read it off here. Since you have decided to have another public hearing regarding a $1 million loan to the hospital, please review or reread my letter of 7/24/17 to Broadwater County prior to answering additional questions. 1, what was the specific reference to Mako to exceptions proposed to be used to circumvent the listed codes of MCA from my previous letter? 2, what are the specific references to case law decisions, including case and line numbers, allowing the exemptions that the county intends to pursue? 3, why can't the loan to BHC come from a financial institution directly to BHC? Question mark. 4, if an institution can't be used, who is in county government is going to claim the experience and authority to authorize such a loan? All these, plus any additional questions asked during these proceedings, need to be answered in writing, hopefully with a copy to the newspapers and signed by the responsible county officials per bargain right.
I just have,
You volunteering?
sometimes, well, you volunteering.
I thought you had your hand up to volunteer.
I have kind of a question, two-part question. One, can I have a show of hands of people here that are affiliated one way or another with the hospital?
I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Second part is, by what we're listening here, it appears that the hospital is subsidized horrendously. So I do not quite understand being able to economically, for this small community, to be able to have a lean, mean, running, efficient facility. Okay, unless we're trying to achieve something that is not achievable, or to draw from outside of the community to us, and because we are a very low-income area, that might drawing in is going to bring in retirees or those who are looking for assistance, not those who are actually bringing assets to us. And so I think that because the county takes care of the buildings, I mean, you have everything that I listen to here. You have outside money at no cost to the county, I mean, to the hospital that is assisting you to stay efficient. And if you have exceeded your means, then to reevaluate, because you have what, 2,000 or 3,000 people that you're actually, 4,000 people, let's say, that you're actually serving. Because the people on the south end of the county, they got their agenda. The people on the north end of the county, they got their agenda. You have those that are in the middle, and what percentage of them actually comes here, what percentage goes east and west? I don't know, I don't take studies on that. Somebody probably does. Okay? This is what I say, and for the taxpayers of this community, I think that it's a responsibility of our elected officials there to go through that. Ask those hard questions of, why do you need this? Because, and if the building has 30-year-old equipment, well, I don't know, but to sit there and say that we're going to dump everything under the federal government for our subsidies for our existence, I don't think it's a very efficient way to go, because the federal government right now is, hell, who knows where it's at, as far as health care.
It's not everything, it's.
Well, this is how, I'm sitting here listening. So, I say that what you got, use the best of it. And if you can grow within the means, I'm all for it. But if you want to do as my friends over in the oil field say, go big or go home, we don't want to make this investment. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question?
That's great.
I'm sorry, I do not know you. I'd like to know your name.
My name is Alan Wright.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Just to help, since you're listening with us, because you named it, we're a pretty low income county. One of the problems the hospital has, and we don't get reimbursed for this, is the hospital has to take everybody that comes in this low income county we have. We don't turn people away. Now, I hope we didn't not splint somebody.
I got split. When I broke my ankle, I did get split.
Well, that's good. I'm not reading something right. So, there's a category called uncompensated care. And uncompensated care is represented by the people who can't pay or won't pay in this county. That represents about 10% of our $6 million that's our total fiscal amount, or $600,000 that we're not getting reimbursed however we do this. So how would you suggest we make up $600,000? Is it okay if I charge all of you 10% more on your bill to pay for that?
No.
Gee, then where do we go? So that's one of the reasons you hear us come and ask for PILT money every year to help take care of that. But it's one of the obstacles that's overcome by the hospital by offering additional services. That's why we'd like to have things like maybe cardio rehab or additional imaging or things that we're allowed to make a little more money on to help offset that. But we start in the hole every year 10%. Now, why don't we go collect that money? Well, at some point that does go to collection, but it's very difficult. I would suggest to you that under the current insurance, Medicaid expansion helped this hospital because some people have insurance that didn't. But if you buy your insurance on the exchange and you're being subsidized, you probably you were lucky to pay for the insurance you bought, and when you go to the hospital, it has a $5,000 deductible. That means your first stab is you've got to pay the $5,000, and if it's serious enough, you get sent off then to Helen or Bozeman for more treatment. Well, who do you think gets stuck with the $5,000 deductible that they can't pay? Well, so the exchange didn't help rural health care. So just to know some of the reasons why it's so difficult to just make money. I get it. Everybody at the hospital wants to make money, but it doesn't happen with the snap of the fingers, nor can we just start charging everybody else more to make up for those who can't. So just low-income county makes this even worse.
Well, I know, because I listened to some of the examples that was used, of different communities, and we're not even in the ball, we're not even in the playing field as far as taxable base in communities.
There's
So I think
46, I'm sorry.
But I do believe that it's just like a business, it's just like a private little business out here. They have to establish where they can work, all right? And with the subsidies that I have just heard, that is a major boost for that facility over there, that maybe it's too big, maybe it's too small.
Right sizing, you heard him say it.
And that is because, like I said, we have, I don't know what your statistics are, 2,000 to 4,000 people is this basic area that it's used of the population. So, where do we fit when we got we got hospitals all around us? Sure, we might have to drive an hour.
When your ankle's broken, Alan, it couldn't be any.
We're kind of going in circles here. Let's have a couple more comments real quick, and then I think we can call it good.
I just was curious
I would
too
like to make one comment.
about you brought up a very good point, Bill. Some of these players that have done well are like Anaconda, for whatever reasons, they're seeming to be in a honeymoon period right now. We know that, like Kyle mentioned.
Do you like Anaconda?
Yeah, but the point being.
I did Anaconda.
They have joined up with the Providence Network, right, Brad?
Yeah.
So are we thinking about joining up like them? That's another good question, because it seems to help them.
Kate, again, Kate, I would love for you to come to monthly meetings, and if you want to meet afterward, all that information we talk about every month.
Right.
And so absolutely, we are going through every possible avenue.
The Providence Network is not a panacea by any stretch of imagination, and they're in deep financial problems in every facility that they're in. Anaconda is about 10 times bigger than we are, and we're never going to be their size. But I can tell you, if you take Deer Lodge, Ennis, White Sulphur, Sheridan, Townsend's going to be bigger than them at some point in time in the next 10, 20 years. We need to really start looking at that potential opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be in the game. And we do and have relationships with larger facilities, but we've got a long ways to go in securing that. We have a relationship with Bozeman Health, and frankly, St. Pete's has been in a tough position for 2-3 years. So I'm pleased with where we're at. We haven't made any. The people that have joined up with Providence and went with Epic are having their problems as well. So it's not a panacea.
I would just like to say, in this meeting, I've heard a lot of things, a lot of good questions, some not so good. But what struck me, and Bill touched on it a little bit,
is, we've heard about other people in Helena that have said something. Those people aren't here. We don't know who they were. People in Helena said something. I've heard about secret documents. I've got secret documents. I've seen secret documents. Well, why aren't those documents produced? They're secret documents. There are people that have been threatened. Well, those people aren't here. There are people I've heard of that have been threatened. I know, I go to the meetings. I'm not part of the health system board, but I go to their meetings. The board, those meetings are open to the public. You can make comments before. Brad has comments after. Jenny is there. She produces all the financial information. If you want to see what it is, come to the meeting. I am part of the district board. We have our meetings. We are open to the public. We don't have secret documents. We're open. You can come and see what's discussed. You can see the documents. Jenny comes to our meeting. She produces all the documents, shows all the financials. If you want to see the financials, come to the meeting. I get a little tired of papers, letters, mail sent out to everyone in the county that's not signed by anyone, alleging all sorts of things, secret documents that, reference, when everything is open. You can come, anybody is welcome, they can come to the meeting, they can comment on the meeting. We don't need to hear about secret things.
Okay, well, two quick comments and I think we'll.
I just have a real quick one. First, I appreciate the meeting here because I needed to get answers for my questions. So I appreciate you guys all answering the questions. This one's for Corey. If you could just help me out with this because I'm real confused. Real simple. Does Broadwater County own the hospital and restaurant? Nursing home?
The hospital district owns.
No, does Broadwater County own? Is that a tough question, huh?
It's kind of tough.
I'm confused, because there's a lot of people, Mr. Hubstead, Laura Orbert, Mr. Kearns, they all have said Broadwater County owns this hospital.
I've been told
Now, just a
Broadwater
minute,
County
I'm
owns
asking
this
for it.
hospital for years.
So here's how this works.
So explain it to me, because I need to clear this up.
There's two kinds of hospitals, rural hospitals, when we talk about county hospitals. There's one that's literally owned and run by the county. I think Toole County, Rice River is an example of that. I don't know if they are anymore. There's another one where it's not the county, it's a private entity like this that runs the actual facility, is the hospital organization, but they're in a publicly owned building, and that's what we have. So the county was authorized and did establish a hospital district, and it is not the entire county. This is why it's confusing. It'd be really easier if the district was the exact outline of the county, and everybody who was a property tax payer in the county was also in the hospital district, then it wouldn't be that confusing. But the district is not exactly the contour of Broadwater County. The people that are within that hospital district, and what they did is they estimated who was within that service area. They are the ones whose taxes on their property are used to support this facility. However, it is in many ways, under the direction of the county commission, just like a lot of boards and commissions are, the mosquito, the museum, the whoever. They have to, when they do a budget request, like they do every year to the county commission for a certain amount of money out of the county general fund, the county commission is the one that says yes, no, up, down, whatever. If there's a mill levy, which there is right now, we're in the third year, it's only assessed on the people, the property owners within the district, and voted on people within that district. So, in my view, I believe that if it came down to, in fact, so there's a whole bunch of statutes about if a hospital district was dissolved, what would happen, and how you would deal with the assets and liabilities and all that. And if it was dissolved, it would really be the county commission's problem of how to unwind it and deal with it. They are not exactly alter egos, but they're pretty darn close. They are really a county entity, but they own, the hospital district owns the building, the real estate that it's under and all that. They're not exactly the same as the county commission, but they are a county subdivision. They're a subdivision of the county government. How's that? That's
But the
possible.
hospital,
The hospital is owned and run by Broadwater Health Center, or whatever,
it's not owned by
Townsend
Broadwater
Health
County.
Systems. Say again.
It is not owned by Broadwater County.
That's right.
It's kind of like the
Is it
ordinance.
misleading to say, if someone said, it's owned by the county, given your explanation, that doesn't seem like it's misleading to me.
It's,
Because the
County
responsibility
entity.
goes to the county.
the facility is owned by the county. I have used that.
Facility is, but I mean
Yes.
Broadwater Hospital.
The Townsend, what is your guys' legal name?
Townsend Health Systems, so the
Townsend Health
county
Systems.
has contracted with a nonprofit organization to run the day-to-day operations, to run the.
So if the hospital goes under, say for whatever reason, Broadwater County then is responsible for its debt.
Correct.
No, I don't think that's.
No,
Broadwater,
we would file
Broadwater
bankruptcy
County,
as a
Broadwater
nonprofit.
County owns the property, the building,
I understand.
and the land. When
So then
we were
he's
actually
saying that
finished,
Broadwater-
let me finish. When we were actually looking at closure after 3 days of coming here and you had 12 employees and two and a half million in debt in one way or another, we asked an attorney,
Bankruptcy.
bankruptcy attorney, what do we do? And he just laughed at us. We don't own the property, we don't own the building, the county does, through the district board.
So the answer
That
is,
wasn't my answer.
the shell is owned by the county, okay? The operation, the hospital itself, the who hires the nurses, who, the daily supplies, running it, the authority to run it is the THS, separate entity.
Separate entities, so Broadwater County
We own the
does
body,
not-
they're the soul.
So then.
No, the THS runs the operational
No,
piece.
The 50.
We don't own this building.
503C, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So Broadwater County is not involved in that.
It is,
503C.
you contracted with the nonprofit, so.
So your
So if you wanna
debt,
break the
all
con-
of that it has nothing to do with Broadwater County, correct?
What's that? What did you say?
So depending on who,
So it's still really.
collateralized
confusing,
it.
isn't it? So-
Depends on who collateralizes
And this
it.
is not a deal where if they went into bankruptcy or whatever, that suddenly the county is stuck with their debt. That's not reality.
That's not-
But the other reality is
But
that,
Broadwater County really doesn't own the hospital, right?
no, we really do. I mean, if the hospital district suddenly.
Not the building, I'm not talking about.
They
the
really
building,
do
I'm talking
own
about-
it.
Okay, so when you say the hospital, you mean the entity, not the building.
Exactly,
Yeah,
totally.
We do not own the hospital entity, the organization, the
Okay,
shell, the
so
structure.
Broadwater County does not own the hospital.
Broadwater County owns the structure
I get
and the
that.
land. The inside of the hospital is an operational piece.
Exactly, that's my question.
The operational piece,
But
but
when you
we have
say-
no collateral other than the equipment that the organization has bought. So if you wanted to remortgage your house, you own your house. Go down to the bank and you can mortgage part of that building, right? You can remortgage. We can't. We cannot do that because we do not have title to
But you
the
can
property.
operate it.
But we can what?
You do have an operating line.
Yeah, it's.
On our
I know,
accounts,
but you can get-
on our accounts receivable, which is operational, and on some of our equipment. Let me finish, let that sink in. You got
She's saying it correct.
Okay, all right.
She's saying it
I
correct.
get it.
Yeah.
That's-
But see,
all right.
what you were saying is that we can't get an operating line because we don't have any collateral, because we don't own the building.
Correct.
Yeah, we
But
can.
in fact, that's not true because you do have an operating line.
Through, on our accounts receivable
Yeah, I know,
and
but
on
you
some
still
equipment.
can get an operating line, you see. My only thing was trying to clear up in my head, does Broadwater County own the hospital? Not the building, I get that. The actual business that is operating inside of that hospital, or inside of that facility.
And the answer is no.
And the answer is no. Okay, so
But then-
everybody kind of needs to make sure that that's clear because it has been mentioned several times that Broadwater County owns the hospital. and that's not true.
The reason that there's confusion there is because it's performing the public health function that a public hospital, as far as indigent care, Medicaid, admissions, all those things. So there's a link. The reason is under the state law, the operational funds from the hospital district can go not just to the upkeep of the facility, but helping to run the hospital operationally if the hospital is providing those public health services that nobody else would provide in this area. If they weren't doing that, they said, no, you're a walk-in, your insurance or cash only, then there'd be really, public funds would not go to them except for to run the facility, wouldn't go to their operations. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure does.
And you're saying that the district is the owner of the operation?
No.
No. Well, then who is?
Say again.
Well, who is the owner of the operation?
Your board.
Our nonprofit, our teach.
Not? Yeah. Somebody has to own it. And who is that?
It's Townsend Health Systems Incorporated.
It's the county health system?
Townsend.
Townsend Health.
THS.
THS owns it.
But because we offer public service, we are a county entity.
I don't agree with that. You're
We're
not a county entity, you're performing a public health function in a county-owned building. You're not a county entity,
And I think maybe we're all mixing words, and we would agree that we get to have IGT funds because we're a county entity. We are eligible for governmental funds because we operate under the district hospital.
But that's because of the nursing home.
Yes.
Correct.
Which
But
is
that
making-
all falls under the county umbrella.
Oh, yeah, okay, Doug.
I have one letter to read from one of the members of my board, the investment board, Bill Kearns. I sent him an email, asked him if he would give me his input on this. He emailed me back, he said it's fine with me to loan the hospital the money because it's a county entity. Because of the huge economic impact that the hospital has on this community, they also have a history of paying back the debts they owe. Bill Kearns. Now for my 2 cents worth. This is a hard meeting. It's a hard meeting because it hits everybody in their pocketbook, but you know what we're not thinking of is our heart. I've been in this county for 60 years. I'm a member of the volunteer fire. Prove it.
Meeting's a little hotter than you thought.
I was raised in a household where my dad was a volunteer fire department. We had a phone that hung on the wall that rang in every volunteer fire department's house. The wives usually answered the phone while the husbands went to the fire because they believed that Townsend was a good place to live and they wanted to protect it. I've seen people come in here and offer their time on hospital boards and other boards, fair boards, because they gave their time with nothing coming back to them except the blessing that they lived in a better place and they liked Townsend. I used to work with Victor at the mill. He's back in Townsend because he likes Townsend and chose it to come here, spend the good last remaining days of his life. Hopefully there'll be a lot. Sometimes you just have to believe in your community, and I think that's what we're not looking at. Is that I believe that if we give these guys $1 million, they're going to pay it back. I believe it as a taxpayer. I believe it as a citizen. And I believe it as the treasurer of this county. Sometimes you just have to believe and you have to put away all the rhetoric that we've been arguing about for the last 2 hours and just think, is Townsend worth saving? Do we want a hospital in this town?
Yes.
Yes or no? We have a turnover rate over here at the sheriff's department that would probably stagger you guys in numbers. We're not talking about closing the police department.
The entire medical industry has a large turnover.
Yeah. If we lost this hospital, Townsend would be hurting in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of people in this community that volunteer their time and their effort. I spent time on a fire when my wife was dying of a brain tumor. And could have spent some of the last few hours of her life with her, because somebody's house might burn down, because I believe in towns. Do you believe in it, or do you want to just write it off?
Okay, I think with that, we'll close. Thank all of you for coming. A lot of things discussed and rediscussed, and thank you again.
Sure.